Okay. So in the previous class, we were studied about perceptron learning. In the perceptron, there is one just input layer and the output layer. In perceptron, we have shown that the perceptron is one in which there is simple uh, linear separable data is present. Perceptron is successful. The perceptron is not successful as in the case of XOR function, in which there are two positive and two negative are in opposite sides, so there is no way possible that that can be linearly separable. Also, in the case of perceptron learning, we have also studied that we simply learn that the weight function is given as the new weights are given as the previous weights for change in weight. This is in every case, and that change in weight is computed as the learning rate target minus output. That is the output given by the perceptron rule into the input particular input xi. So using this, we have also found that in the case of perceptual learning rule, if we use the delta rule, that is the second kind of training rule, if we use this rule to train our network, that is in the case of gradient descent, this is the output is given as weights multiplied by the xi. Vector indicate the vector x multiplied by vector w, the line above the w and x, and that result in summation wn xn or w1 x1 w2 x2 and so on, as we have seen previously in this point here. W1 into x1 plus w2 into x2 wn into x1, all these are combined up, that is summation wi xi, and that is fed to the function, in which if it is more than 0, then the output will be 1, that is a signum kind of function, and if it is less than 0, then this will result in -1. So if we would train such kind of network, then change in weight is given by eta times, that is the learning rate times t minus o into xi, or in simple term, if we go with the delta rule, in which the error is considered to be the mean square error, that is the square of the error and added them up, that is a sum of square error. Sum of square error, if you take the mean square error, then in that case we have found that we can get the change in weight as uh, minus eta times the derivative of the error divided by w sorry, the derivative of error with respect to weight wi. Wi is for a particular input. So by solving this, we have got that the change in weight as eta times t minus od into xi. This is same as per the perceptron learning rule, in which this summation is not present, rest all are same. That is eta times t minus d into t minus o into xd, that we have learned previously. So this is the same thing. Now we are again extending it to the multi-layers. For multi-layers, we need to learn some more things also. We will use the multi-layer network and the back propagation algorithm. So for this we will use the back propagation rule, and the back propagation algorithm is also defined. First we need to learn the sigmoid neurons. What is sigmoid neuron? Is sigmoid neurons are one which use the sigmoid function, and sigmoid function I have told you that sigma is 1 over 1 plus e to power minus x. If that is the function, then that is the sigmoid function. If you don't remember, let me show you again. That is sigma over uh, okay, I must think that you must check the previous classes, then that would be easier. So here we use the sigmoid function, in which sigmoid of x is given as 1 over 1 plus e to power minus x. Whereas the perceptron learning rule is using sign of x as, if x is more than 0 then result in plus 1, otherwise if x is less than 0 then result is minus 1. But now we particularly going to use sigmoid function for the multi-layer networks. In the case of multi-layer networks, the sigmoid function is the net I term. I will let you know a little later what is net I. For example, consider x, then this is 1 over 1 plus e to power minus x. So this x is the change in x. So net I of t, that is x minus theta or x by sigma. So if you plot this respect to f net with respect to net I, then that would be result in such kind of inputs in which for more than 0 it will go to 1 as net I increases toward 1, and as net I reduces towards 0, then as net I reduces toward minus 1, then f net I will result in 0. So this function is resulting the value between 0 to minus 1. This is important because sometimes they ask in the question that for the sigmoid function, the resulting output is between 0 to 1. Whereas in the previous case, we have seen the resulting output is between minus 1 to 1, as we have seen right now here for this case. So please remember these things, because these things are very clearly asked in your examinations, that sine function is for plus 1 to minus 1 and sigmoid function is for 0 to 1. You can see even in the figure here, the figure shows minus 1 to 1 and this figure shows 0 to 1. So we will write the sigmoid x is 1 over 1 plus minus x. We have not used the dummy variable theta, that I have already told you that these are theta is not used. We will do later on when we do more complex kind of computation. So for the time being, we will use the simplified form, that is s net equal to 1 over 1 plus e to power minus net. That is s of x is written as the sigmoidal of x as 1 over 1 plus e to power minus x. And in this case, if you see, the one variable is also there, that is divided by tau, but for simplicity we have also considered tau to be 1 here. So this uh, subject is made for simple understanding of the machine learning. So in this case we are doing the sigmoid function as 1 over 1 plus e to power minus x. One more property of sigmoid function is that if you take the derivative of the sigmoid function, then that would result in sx into 1 minus sx. This thing I have already told you that you must do this derivation, and very high chances that you will get this question in your examination too, because this is very beautiful property of the sigmoid function. This is how it is follows. Suppose Sx is, as you know, Sx is 1 over 1 plus e to the power minus x. If you differentiate Sx with respect to x, then that would result in e to the power minus x over 1 plus e to the power minus x whole square. If you add and subtract minus 1 in it in the numerator, then you will get you will separate it out, then you will get 1 over 1 plus e to the power minus x minus 1 over 1 plus e to the power minus x whole square. Take common 1 over 1 plus e to the power minus x, then that would result in sx, and the remaining term is 1 minus s into x. The remaining term is 1 minus 1 over e to the power minus x. So this is the important property of the sigmoidal function, that if you take the derivative of sx, the sigmoid function, then that is result in sx into 1 minus sx. So we were now doing the backpropagation learning. In the case of backpropagation learning, the goal is to modify the network weight so that its output vector will result in OP1, OP2, OPK is as close as possible to the desired output vector D1, D2, dpk. It means that you are trying to find the weight of the network in a way in which the targets and the output, the target is the desired weight vector and the outputs are the vectors given by your neural network. So the target and the output will result in the minimum error, or target is as close as possible to the desired output. So that is our goal. So but we have to modify, we have in our hand to, we can only modify the weights of neural network. One thing need to learn here that this is the k output neuron, so it is written as dp, but the k is hidden, so it is dp1, dp2, dpk. The input patterns are p, so it is dp, that is p1 to p capital P. The set of input output pairs are written as x comma d for each input pair, for each input pattern p, that constitute the training set. The x is the input and d is the desired output vector of the target. So in the case of backpropagation learning, the target is to minimize the cumulative error in a way that we will find the error between each output and the desired vector, and that error is added up for all the values to result in the complete error, and our target is to minimum of these. So we will use the mean square error function. The mean square error function is the square of this error and added them up, nothing else. The same error summation p1 to p, for each error we will compute the L. L is given as O minus D. So this is for each point P. This is having K values. We will see in the next slide also. See here. You need to remember this, that what we are going to do, we are going to have multi-layer network. So now we have to train two kind of weights. One is the weight between hidden layer to the input layer, or the input layer to the hidden layer, and the other weight we need to train is between hidden layer to the output layer. So these two kinds of weights we need to train, and how these outputs are written, how these weights vector are written, why it is 1 1, why it is 2 4, that is very important, because the same property we will use here, that ijpk. So you should not confuse in this. So you must learn from this, that suppose the hidden layer is considered of 4 units, and the 4 unit is having the input from the third unit of the input layer. So this is x3 and w4, or to the fourth layer of the hidden layer. So it is written 4 3, that is fourth hidden layer and the third input layer. Similarly, this w24 is second output layer and the fourth hidden layer. Similarly, this W11 is first output layer, first hidden layer, first output layer, first input layer, and the first hidden layer. Means first where it is going, and the second one is what, from where it is coming. 4 3, fourth hidden layer coming from third input layer. 2 4, going to the second output unit and the fourth hidden layer unit. Similarly, in between, the weights for these orange lines are not written, but these are present. Suppose I am writing this weight for this, that is going from x1 to hidden 2. So I will write the weight as W21, and this will be W21, that is the second hidden layer and the first input layer, W21. Similarly, the weight for the next one is, suppose I am writing for the first hidden layer coming from the second input layer, I will write again the W12. First hidden layer it is going, and the coming from the second input layer, isn't it? So what this 1 0 and 2 1 represents, basically this represents the, I have already told you that in the previous class that input layer is the 0th layer and the hidden layer is first layer and the output layer is second layer. So if you are writing the network in this way, then I will write the 1 0 superscript means that it is between input layer and the hidden layer, 1 0. Similarly, when I write 2 1, it means it is between the first layer and the second layer, that is hidden layer and the output layer. Similarly, this weight is W21, that is between hidden layer and output layer. This weight is W10. It indicates for the input layer and the hidden layer. So this terminology is used whenever we use the backpropagation algorithm. So for this backpropagation algorithm, we need to learn that for an input pattern P, the ith input layer holds xpi. That is, the input pattern is P and the ith input layer. We will write xpi, that is the input for the ith layer. So when it is input to the jth node, when we write net input means it is summation. For the jth node, so we will write subscript j. For the hidden layer, we will write superscript 1, right? So it is written as net j1. You must understand this terminology, otherwise you will get confused when you write the program for this backpropagation learning. So you must need to understand that what is this terminology is all about. So net j1 means that is the net input. Net input means that is summation w into x. Whenever there is net, it means summation weight into x. For the layer 1, that is for the hidden layer, so we have written 1. For the jth node, so it is written for the jth node. Suppose we are writing for this hidden layer. So for this hidden layer, suppose we are writing for the first node. So we will write net 1 1. That is for the hidden layer and the coming for the node 1. That is the node j. So we will write net 1 1. 1 in the superscript, 1 in the subscript. So it is W11 x1, W21 x2, W31 x3. Similarly, this is sum them up. So that is net of the first unit of the hidden layer. So it is I from 0 to n, Wji. 10 is fixed because it is from between hidden layer to the input layer, W10. xpi is the input pattern. So now suppose we are writing for the output jth node in the hidden layer. Output of the jth node in the hidden layer. So in the hidden layer, it will pass through the sigmoidal function. So input is this one, net g. So that is the same, summation I equal to 0, I from 0 to n, wji xi for the weight 1 0. The same as we have seen here, net j, that is passed through the sigmoidal function, then that would result in the output of the hidden layer. Since it is in the hidden layer, so we will write x to the superscript 1, and xpj is indicating that for the jth node it is coming, and the input x is having the p patterns. Now suppose we are having the net input of the kth node in the output layer. So we will write net key superscript 2. Superscript 2 indicates output layer, kth node. So it is k, and net input, it means summation w into x, as we have seen previously above, just one step above. So it is summation w kj xpj for summation j equal to 0 to n, all the values we are considering. So that would result in net k. And if we want to find the output of the kth node in the output layer, then that is output between output for p to kth layer, kth node. Then we will write as the same summation as net k, but we will pass through the sigmoidal function. So that is the output of the kth node in output layer, and we will write error in the form that error is summation for each value k1 to capital K, that is all k values, and consider the error between the pk, that is L. That error is, we will write that error as, just a minute, we will write that error as summation k equal to 1 to k, the desired minus output whole square, mean square error we will going to consider. So but in this case mean is not taken, just the sum of square error. This is the terminology we used. And if you want to train the network, as I have told you that now you are designing the multi-layer network with the back propagation learning. So in that case you are designing such kind of network, so you need to train the two kinds of weights, the weights between the input layer to the hidden layer, and the weights between the hidden layer and the output layer. You need to train these two kinds of weights. So if you're training the output layer weights, then we will compute the change in weight, that is the summation, that is sum proportional to the uh, error, partial derivative of the error with respect to weights. Similarly, when we need to compute the hidden layer weights, then that is sum proportional to the error and uh, with respect to derivative with respect to. So allow me some part to learn from the book here, so that you will understand what is going in book. There is not so much change, but still there is need to learn what is going inside the book. Hmm. Yes. Uh, If we learn about the derivation of backpropagation rule, I am following the book Tom Mitchell, and in that case, we have learned that the weight is sum proportional to the error and the partial derivative of weight of that function, isn't it, as we have seen here? That is uh, minus partial derivative of the error with respect to wkg. The same given in the book here, but now instead of the proportional function, it is written as eta, that is learning rate. Both are same thing, but the representation is different, so don't get confused that um, in book it is given some other way. Both are same thing. Error we have considered, that is summation t minus o, that is the target minus output whole square for each of the output key. And this 1 by 2 is immaterial, you can use or you cannot use. In this slide I have not shown that you need to use. For example, you can see in the last part the network error, that is summation d minus o whole square. So the 1 by 2 is used for simplicity. As we will do derivatives, we will able to divide the things with 1 by 2, so it is used for the simplicity purposes. It is good to use. If you don't use, then also there is no problem. This thing I have already told you that xgi represent the input to the unit j, ith input to the unit j. Wji represent the weight associated with the ith unit to the unit j. Net j is summation wi, wji, xji. Oj is the output computed by unit j. Tj is the target output for the unit j. Sigma is the sigmoid function. Output is the set of unit in the final layer of the network, and downstream j represents the set of units whose immediate outputs include the units of output of unit j. As in the case of hidden layer, suppose I will compute the downstream j, it means I am following from how many inputs, from how many outputs this one unit is getting the input. So that is downstream j. We will see later on as we more study this. So our target is to compute the partial derivative of e, that is the error, with respect to weights. So directly it is not able to compute. So what we will do, we will use the chain rule, and in the chain rule, that is the partial derivative of e would result in sigma, that is the partial derivative of ed with respect to net j, and the partial derivative of net j with respect to weight wji. Now net j is, as I have told you, that summation wji xji. Now if you partial derivative it with respect to wji, then this would result in only xi, and we are left with sigma error, sorry, the partial derivative of error with respect to net j. Now how to compute the partial derivative of error with respect to net j? There are two cases. The first case is that we are training the output unit weights. Output unit weights means we are training the weights between the hidden layer and the output layer. That is output unit weights. So for example, in this case, we are training the W21. So if we are training the W21, then what we will use? We have already computed. Our target is to compute the error with respect to W, but when we use chain rule, then we will get the partial derivative of ED with respect to net j into xi. So our next target is to compute the partial derivative of the error for the D trainings for the with respect to net j. So again we use the chain rule. We will compute the partial derivative of error with respect to O, that is the output, for the each unit J, and we need to compute the partial derivative of O, that is the output, with respect to net J. So if we compute the first part, that is the partial derivative of error with respect to the partial derivative of the outputs, then we will compute in a way, the error is given by 1 by 2 summation of t minus O whole square. As I have right now shown you that network error is d minus O whole square, that is the desired outputs or the targets whole square and its summation. So the same thing used here, that is partial derivative of 1 over 2 summation t minus O whole square divided by partial derivative of with respect to O. So if you solve this, you will get this is equal to 1 over 2 into 2 t minus Oj, and the partial derivative of t minus Oj into t minus Oj with respect to Oj. So if you solve this, 2 into 2 cancel out, and this Tj is constant with respect to Oj, so it is 0, and the derivative of Oj minus Oj with respect to Oj is minus 1. So this would result in minus t into t minus Oj, that is target minus output. So that is a partial derivative of the error with respect to O. Now our next part is this, we need to compute the partial derivative of O with respect to net J. So partial derivative of O with respect to net J is something that output is nothing but the output that is from the sigmoid function, output given by the sigmoid function when it is having input net J, that is the x, sigma x. And right, just here I have told you that the property is for the derivative of the sigmoid function, the property is Sx into 1 minus Sx. So same is used here. So in this case, the property would result in, if you take the sigmoid function, if you find its derivative, then that would result in Oj into 1 minus Oj. So combining equation 4.24 and 4.25 and 4.23 into here, and we will obtain this one. We'll use what is the output at partial derivative of E with respect to O and O with respect to net, that is minus P minus O and O1 minus Oj. If we put both these together, then partial derivative of E with respect to net J is minus P minus O, that is the first term, multiplied by the second term, that is Oj 1 minus Oj. So this partial derivative is for half of the part, and the rest of the part it is partial derivative of E with respect to net J is computed, and that is multiplied with xji would result in partial derivative of E with respect to weight Ji, for which we need to compute, for which we need to update. So the change in weight for Wji is computed as minus time eta of, that is the learning rate of the partial derivative of E with respect to W. So if you put this value and the value of that one, that is partial derivative of net J over W, would result in Xi. This term would result in Tj minus Oj into 1 minus Oj, and minus would be cancelled out, would result in just remaining with eta. So the weight here is computed as eta times target minus output into output 1 minus output into xj. This is we need to compute, that is we need to when we need to update the weights. And for the second case, when we need to train the hidden units. When we need to train the hidden units means we are going to train the weights between input layer and the hidden layer, that is W11 or W43, W21, so on. So when we need to train these weights, then we need to compute error with respect to weight of that function. So that would be computed as, we will compute the error with respect to net j, and for net j what we will do, we will again use the partial derivative rule, and for we will multiply with the net k and the divide with net k. And in this case we are using that k is following the downstream pattern of j. I mean to say downstream here is that we need to compute the hidden layer weights at these points, that is at the in the middle layer, hidden layer. In that layer, if we need to compute the weight, so we will check from the downstream that from which inputs this weight is multiplied. So that is again k following the downstream pattern of the j. So when you solve this, the partial derivative of error with respect to net, that is delta, this delta is given as we have computed here, where it is here it is written that this delta is used, this delta k is written as partial derivative of minus ed by net k, and minus ed by net k is this function tj minus oj 1 minus oj, that is target minus output into output 1 minus output. So this thing is used as delta, so it is directly written delta, and this partial derivative is again we need to compute. So when we need to compute the partial derivative net k with respect to net j, then again we will use the same pattern of the chain rule. We multiply divide with oj. As we know net k with oj as wkj, because net k is summation wi oj, but in this case please remember the output is now following the x. This one is your input. We are following the pattern between input and the hidden. So when we are computing the inputs, so we are considering x as the inputs. Whereas in this case we are considering from hidden to layer, we are hidden to the output layer, we are considering the outputs of hidden layer as the inputs. So this will left with wkj, and the partial derivative of O with respect to net j is output of this function is nothing but again the same function that we have seen here, that the sigmoidal function, and sigmoidal function partial derivative is sx 1 minus ox. So in this case this is oj 1 minus oj. So in the case of the training rule of the hidden unit, if you compute the weights, then it is given by delta w is equal to the minus would be cancelled out, and the delta used here, that is from input to the hidden layer, is something different, that is oj 1 minus oj multiplied by summation for k which is going from downstream j as delta k wj. So this delta is computed, multiplied with xi, and eta would result in delta w. Whereas in the case of hidden layer to the output, this delta is different. This delta is the quantity minus ed over net I or net K, isn't it? And ED over net K is minus Tj into Oj 1 minus Oj. So please remember this delta used for the input to the hidden and the hidden to the output is different. So this is not given in the book. They have used the same delta, but the result is in both the case the result is different. So in my PPT slide, I have made them in a different way. I have written one as delta, other as mu. One is written as delta, other one is written as mu. So delta is d minus ok and the sigmoidal function derivative as s prime net k, that is oj 1 minus oj, and mu j as summation k equal to 1 to k delta, the same delta we used above, and into wkj multiplied with s prime, that is sigmoidal function derivative for net j. Here it is saying eta mu j xj, mu j xi, and here eta delta xj. So you must need to remember that while computing the weight from the output, hidden layer to the output, we will use this delta, and when we compute inner layer or the input layer to the hidden layer, we will use this mu. So we will continue this in the next class. If you have any doubt, you can ask.